Hey everyone, we're back. Welcome to the latest edition of This Week at Notarize. And for those new to the programming, This Week at Notarize is your front row seat to notarize the company. We'll highlight company culture, celebrate new hires, and announce new partnerships that we think will have a dramatic impact on the verticals and customers that we serve. And this week at Notarize, we're really excited to welcome Matt Cameron to the show. He's our new head of financial services policy. Matt spent more than a decade working in public service and joins Notarize after 9 years at the U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, often known as CFPB, serving under both Democratic and Republican administrations as the assistant director in the Office of Stakeholder Management. And while at CFPB, he was responsible for overseeing all of the Bureau's relationships with external stakeholders, ranging from members of Congress and their staff to attorneys general and other intergovernmental partners. Matt is an expert in consumer finance policy, external stakeholder engagement, and partnership development, and we are super excited to have him on Team Notarize. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, Matt, with new hires, we always like to know why Notarize, why now? What was it about us as a company, this moment with remote online notarization and the processes that are moving online that made you want to join Team Notarize?
Well, to me, it was really about the platform. So Notarize has created a platform that really aims to empower consumers by making the key to unlocking life's most important transactions, that notarization, more accessible. And joining Notarize was really an opportunity for me to advance the values of consumer protection, empowerment, and access in financial services that were so important during my past roles in public service. And empowering consumers and making it easier for them to navigate both those legal and financial challenges of life was central to why I joined the CFPB and also worked for a senior member of Congress. And now having that ability to be here lets me continue some of that mission-driven work at Notarize.
Yeah, and like you said, public service is really important to you, given just your past roles in the executive and legislative branches of the federal government. Can you just talk a little bit more about why public service is so important to you?
Yeah, certainly. So to me, public service is really summed up perfectly when it's defined as being a part of something that's larger than yourself. So when you think about the United States government, it has a really massive mandate, and so many people rely on the system for so many different things. And that could be your Social Security check, your Medicare benefits. It could be anything to monitoring and controlling inflation, and of course, to ensuring consumers are protected in the financial marketplace. So in order for the federal government to carry out a lot of those functions, it relies on something called the career civil service. And those are non-political career government employees who are there no matter which way the political winds turn. And, they're experts in their field. And they also do the hard day in and day out work of executing on the mission that has been tasked to their agency or their department. And when I was at the CFPB, I had the honor of serving in the career civil service for over 9 years, as you mentioned, at the tail end of my tenure as an executive there. And during that time, I got to work with so many really passionate and intelligent folks who came to the CFPB to make a difference for consumers. And one of the reasons why I joined the CFPB and I left my job working in the House of Representatives for a member of Congress was very personal for me. So my dad was a 25-year general contractor out in California building custom homes. The 2008 financial crisis came, and it caused him to have to shut down that family company that he had built over so many years. And that period of time was really hard on families, and they lost generations of wealth. So I decided to come to the CFPB like almost right after it opened its doors because I wanted to ensure that a financial crisis like what we saw in 2008 wouldn't happen again. And while I was there, I helped, as you mentioned, help build 3 different offices at the Bureau. And the last office I helped build was the Office of Stakeholder Management. And we engaged with stakeholders from across the country. But the one thing that I really loved about that part of my job was talking to so many different experts in the field who I could take that information and then go in and help influence policy at the Bureau to help make a difference for consumers. And so in many ways, no job in public service, in my opinion, is too small. And it's whether you're working at your city's Department of Transportation or all the way up at the White House, helping to improve your community and the lives of others is really rewarding, and it's an enriching experience. And I couldn't recommend public service enough.
couldn't agree more. And thank you, of course, for sharing that really personal story. Head of our financial services policy here at Notarize, when you look at kind of the landscape, look at the financial services industry, what role does remote online notarization play for both the businesses and the consumers in financial services?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, a notarization is really a critically important process required to complete kind of a multitude of transactions. And that's from buying a home to accessing funds in your retirement account. Remote online notarization, or RON, everything has to have an acronym for some reason in our world, but is a modern form of notarization that really allows you to get your documents notarized online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then the important thing about RON is that it uses technology of today to enhance the traditional notarization while maintaining that integrity of the Notarial Act. So RON still requires a signer to meet with a commissioned notary public, but allows them to have that meeting in a live session using audio-visual technology. RON relies on a multi-pronged approach to fraud prevention, and that includes multi-factor authentication, a multi-factor authentication process, the use of audiovisual technology to capture and retain documentation of the signing session, and tamper-evident technology to make any modifications to documents obvious and provable. And so the addition of these security features and fraud prevention measures make RON kind of a wonderful option for both consumers and businesses. And RON provides a digital solution that's really designed to meet the demands of the day without compromising any of the security features a consumer or a business has come to expect. And bringing notarization online is often like the last mile standing in the way of fully digitizing services for most businesses, and especially in financial services. And with RON, consumers and businesses, they have a legal, compliant, and secure process to complete these important transactions in a fully online setting. And it's going to increase business efficiency and in turn reduce costs for so many.
Yeah, totally agree. And Matt, you're going to be at the forefront of a lot of the change that's happening in the industry, whether it's financial services or the remote online notarization space in the coming months and years. Where can people go to learn more about what you're up to? How can they get in touch with you if they have any ideas that they want to share?
So I've really gotten into Twitter these days. So if you'd like to learn more, you can follow me there. It's at Matt Cameron DC. Or you can find me on LinkedIn. Also, if you want to just email me directly, I'm happy to talk to anyone. My email is matt.cameron@notarize.com.
Great. And we really appreciate the time, Matt. Matt Cameron, our head of financial services policy. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.